Absolutely. So starting with the benefit to the end customer, actually dealing with products that are clear. I don't know if you've ever used a product and you're like, oh, where'd this feature come from? Like, it's not obvious that it was coming down the pipe. No one told you about it. Not that you have to, in a good experience, be warned that this impending thing is coming. But there's clarity for the end user. Since we've worked in a collaborative way, we've probably done a lot of iterative discovery until we were like, okay, this thing's baked enough for us to actually put it out there so we know that it works, right? So clarity for the end user goes way up, right? When everybody's aligned and telling the same story. Because a lot of times, your marketers are also talking to your sales organization if that's a component of your business, right? So imagine your sales folks telling the customer the same thing you would tell them.
Yeah. Right.
Cue that mind-blown meme.
Yeah.
But that's about conversation, and that's about planfulness, and not planning without flexibility, but thinking about how we're going to work together and talk about what we're going to do. And if I could give a good example, it would be Adobe. I've been in design spaces for a long time and seen the evolution of that product, and it's been interesting to see how they will go down a path and then go, oh, we've got to fix this, right? We've got to change the way we do things. And the first major shift I think we saw was probably with the Creative Cloud product, right? We all remember when you used to get your software on a CD.
Right. Yep, the big
right?
box. And the big, yeah.
Like, ooh, it's here.
Right.
Or you go to like Best Buy or Office Depot and buy it,
Like
this giant box
yeah.
for this tiny little CD.
Right.
So that was there, right? And then they're like, okay, now you can download the software. And then we got to this point where products just needed to exist in the cloud so people can access them from anywhere. But Adobe didn't have those capabilities, of course, initially. And so think about what it means to make products that always end up in one huge release so that it can be burned on a CD and people can buy it.
Right.
Think about that waterfall type of way of working versus we're just continuously updating something. So they had to flex that muscle first. And now you're seeing the way that they work in their category leadership teams. So design, engineering, product, all working together, and with a huge bias for customer information. So when we say CX is not always a person, and we should be very clear about that. I want people to understand that. It is your competency as an organization to understand experience, and you don't always have people just managing that. In fact, usually between a product person and a designer, it's largely their job to make sure that's happening. So, but they do have data at the fingertips. And so Adobe has launched customer listening programs. This is what you might be familiar with, but they're forums, communities. They're out there in the world testing with users and demoing the products in ways that provide for feedback, not just demonstration.
Right.
So collaboration with customers is essential, especially as they're developing all of these AI tools, because designers are a little afraid of what AI is doing to their jobs, right? So there is something that has to happen in terms of marketing and education. So they're inventing products or support products for their main products. Designers, AI is a great thing. This is how it helps accelerate your work. And by doing that, they're helping designers get better at their job. And wouldn't you be more loyal to a product that's actually going to help you secure your future in a company because they're helping you learn something? And now, I say that and knowing that Adobe is not a perfect company, but no company is, but they're making some interesting strides and patterns that we should be curious about, because that leadership team makes decisions together, and that space is moving so fast, they cannot be siloed or they will give up their market share like that. So that's my example.